One of my favorite memories of the Phillies is your triple against the Braves back in '93. So, and you had a tremendous career with the Phillies, and also with the Cubs and all that. So it's a pleasure on my end personally to be able to talk with you. So I appreciate it.
Thanks, I appreciate that. It was a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to coaching now and back in the organization.
And you were coaching high school baseball, right, before you came to work for the Phillies?
Yeah, I coached 4 years here in Valparaiso, Indiana at the high school and made some guest appearances in spring training with the Phillies for the last couple of years. So, yeah, I've been keeping busy, and I'm a baseball guy, and like I said, I'm really looking forward to starting my pro career as a coach.
What brought you back into the pros this time as a coach? Did you just decide you just wanted to take your coaching to the next level? Did the Phillies call you, or did you get in touch with them? How did that work?
Well, I've always wanted to do it ever since I retired, but at the time I retired, I had like a 7, a 4, and a 1 year old, and wasn't ready to go back out on the road and start traveling and being away from home. I wanted to see my kids grow up. So I knew at some point I wanted to get back into it. I called the Phillies on some occasions and told them that I was interested, and they had given me a couple of coaching opportunities. 4 or 5 years ago, and they told me when I was ready to get back in it, let them know. So I let them know last year that I was, anxious to get back in it, and a job opening came up. A couple openings came up this year, and they asked me if I was ready to get back into it. And after talking it over with my family, we decided it was a good time to go ahead and get back into it.
What are your early impressions of Williamsport so far? They play in a pretty historic field at Bowman Field.
Yeah, I looked at it, and I think it's the second oldest field in the country as far as minor league stadiums are concerned. So I'm really looking forward to it. I know they resodded the infield there, so I haven't had a chance to see the field up close, but I'm sure it's a beautiful field, and I know it's a great area for baseball with the Little League World Series there, and like I said, hopefully we'll have a good team. We'll go out there and put a good product on the field, and I can play a role in helping these kids move up to the next level.
What's the biggest thing you want these kids to learn that you're going to be managing here this year? Obviously, I mean, you've been there before. You've worked your way up through the low minors and then finally gradually to the big leagues. What's in addition to developing their skills, what's one lesson you want to convey to them this season as they work towards that goal of making the major leagues?
Well, I think hard work and just how to play the game. I'm going to have a lot of young players, some kids, coming out of high school that haven't been away from home. So mainly I want to get them acclimated to work ethic, playing the game the right way, and learning how to play the game and doing things the right way. On and off the field, making the right decisions, and that's the part I love to teach the game. I love to teach the fundamentals of the game, and at this level, it really allows me to do that. And like I said, I'm going to have a lot of young kids that come out of high school or a few years in college. So I'm going to have the opportunity to get the ball rolling for these kids, and we want to get them to the next level. That's what any coach wants to do. We want these kids to go out, play well. Play the game the right way and move up to the next level.
Did you have a particular coach or a manager, whether it be in your whether you were an amateur or even in your professional career as you were coming up through the Phillies organization? Was there a particular coach that had a pretty strong influence on you, some lessons maybe that you remembered that you'd like to pass on?
Well, I've had a lot of great coaching. I always thought my high school coach was a great coach. My college coach was Oregon. He was at Indiana for over 20 years. Very tough, fundamentally oriented coach. He's probably one of my coaches where I really, early in my career, learned a lot from the everyday grind and going out there and working hard and busting your butt every day. Then in the minor leagues, I had some good coaching too. I had Mel Roberts was my manager in Spartanburg, and I had Bill Dancy in AAA, and then I was fortunate enough to get Jim Fregosi and Larry Boa and John Vukovic and those guys at the professional level. So I've been very fortunate to be coached by a lot of knowledgeable people, and I kind of take a little bit of everything what everybody's taught me. Jim Fregosi was a player's coach, but he had very fundamentally oriented, and we all know Larry Bow was more of a fiery guy that kind of got up into the basics of people, but yet really knew how to play the game. And same with John Vukovic, just guys that really knew how to play the game and teach the fundamentals. And that's what I want to do. I want to be able to teach the fundamentals to these kids and let their athletic abilities go out and do the job on the field.
Mickey, would you say one of the biggest challenges for a young player as they're trying to come up through whatever organization they're in, would you say, making adjustments? Because there's a lot of talent. Obviously, if you've been drafted or are playing minor league ball, you've got talent. But is it that ability to make adjustments that really separates players from one another?
I think so. And at this level, most of these kids have probably seen a 90-mile-an-hour fastball, but they haven't seen it every day. And that's what they're going to face here. And they've maybe seen an occasionally pretty good curveball, but they're going to see excellent breaking stuff every day. So, they're going to have to come in here prepared to make adjustments, learn how to hit the breaking stuff, learn how to hit the off-speed pitches, consistently hit good fastballs that have some movement on them. They probably haven't faced too many pitchers that know how to throw a hard slider or a cutter or things like that. So it's going to be an adjustment at first, and those that stay with it and have a good mental frame of mind and stay positive are going to be the ones that succeed at this level.
Mickey, as you know, I mean, every player that's ever played at any level has gone through struggles. They've gone through slumps and, maybe where it just, nothing looks right at the plate, for instance. And, everybody's gone through that. What's your advice to a young player? How do you want to handle, let's say you look at a kid, he's got talent, but he's just really in a hard way at that time. How would you handle a situation like that?
Well, it's a cliche, but it's one day at a time, especially at this level. And
right.
0 for 4 is one day. You can't take that into the next day and then have another 0 for 4. You just got to approach each at bat, one at bat at a time. Take the batter deep into take the pitcher deep into the count. Have good at bats. And stay positive, and that's one thing we'll do with these kids. We'll keep them positive. We'll keep them upbeat. There's going to be a lot of struggles early for a lot of them, but you kind of got to look at the big picture and not the short-term stuff. And when you have talented kids like this, obviously the mental part of it is a big part of it, especially at an early age. So we will have to deal with that, and that's something that's challenging for a coach, and that's a challenge I'm looking forward to.
Hey, you were part of that. I mentioned at the top of the interview, you were part of that 1993 team, and just, they're famous for the personalities that were in there. And they were mostly a veteran club. And, I mean, you weren't a rookie or anything. I mean, you had been around for a couple of years, but you weren't quite the veteran. A lot of those guys have been around for a long time, before they came to the Phillies. And talk about your experience in that clubhouse.
Well, that year was... we didn't have very many rookies that year. We actually had a lot of experienced players. We had brought in Incaviglia and Milt Thompson and Danny Jackson, those guys had all a tremendous amount of experience. But the thing that set us apart that year, I think we had great leadership from Darren Dalton. He was our leader inside the clubhouse. He kept us going. He kept us positive through some of the rough patches we had during the course of the year. And a lot of people looked up to Darren as our team leader. And even Jim Fregosi realized that Darren was a big part of that clubhouse and kind of let him run things. And if there was an issue that came up that couldn't be solved with it, amongst us players, then Jim would take over. But Darren did a great job of keeping us together. And it was just one of those years where we got along real well. We got out of the gate real early and played well early, and just kind of never looked back.
And you were talking about Darren, and I think one of the things that made him such a good leader was he wasn't afraid to like, if he felt like he had to get in somebody's face, he said he would do that. And Dave Hollins, who was really had a real tough guy reputation. I remember seeing an interview with Dave Hollins where Dalton came into the clubhouse the next day angry about something he had done the night before and told him he was up all night dreaming about fighting him. And I think that's, to me, a leader, that's what a leader is. He's not afraid to basically take on a guy that's, anybody, really, no matter what your stature is.
No, and he did that. And he did that not only with, the position players, but guys on the pitching staff. He would get in Mitch's face once in a while. He'd get in Schilling's face if he had to, and all the pitching staff. So, yeah, that's what being such a great leader that everybody was kind of equal to him, and he wasn't afraid to say what was on his mind and get his point across, and he earned a lot of people's respect in the way he went about things, and that kind of brought us closer together as a team.
And he didn't do it through the media either, which nobody did there. Which I got to think as a player, you probably appreciate that, the fact that you got to keep it in the clubhouse, and everything's kind of sacred. And I think you look at the Phillies today, the current clubhouse. I think that's one thing that Charlie Manuel does pretty well.
Yeah, absolutely. That's a big part of it. Keeping things in the clubhouse, taking care of business without it getting outside the clubhouse, and that's what keeps the team. Keep the team together, keep them focused. As we all know, when things start to get out in the media and things start to get said, and some things are true and some things are not, that can split the team apart. But yeah, we did a real good job at it, and the current Phillies, they're all business. They go out, they play the game the right way, they keep their mouth shut, and they have fun doing it.
As a player, and this is a final question for you, Mickey, what do you have a favorite memory, just like a singular, whether it be an at-bat or a play in the field, just a moment during your playing career that just is maybe your happiest memory as a player?
No, there's probably two of them. One would be, you had mentioned it, the triple off of Maddox in the playoff game in '93. That was a big moment for me. And the other one would be the unassisted triple play that I had in '92. Just to be able to be the first second baseman to do that in the regular season was quite an honor. So probably those two plays are two of the ones that I look back in my career and I'm real proud of.
And I got to tell you, I know I mentioned that too. You just mentioned that Maddox, that triple off Maddox. I mean, I don't know that I'd been happier in my life before that.
Me either.
I can bet it.
I was, I had his line, the ball off his leg in the first inning and didn't have nothing to show for it, and in that event they had walked Lenny to get to me, so it was real nice to be able to come through in that situation and kind of turn a close game into a 4-run lead for us in a game that we went on, and it took us to the World Series. So that was a real proud moment for me.
That's awesome, Mickey. I can't thank you enough for taking a few minutes to talk. It's really appreciated. I wish you nothing but the very best up in Williamsport, and nothing but success for you and your coaching career and your team this year. Best of luck to you, buddy.
All right, I appreciate that. Take care, and if you ever need anything else, just let me know.